Some people are not afraid to fail. They're actually afraid to succeed because, I mean, that might sound crazy until you come from a place where people tell you success can make your target. Today, I wanted to talk about something that me and my friends were talking about a few days ago, and we were talking about the evil of the human heart, and not just envy, jealous, not just people hating. I mean, the type of evil that where actually somebody sees greatness in you, and instead of actually being inspired, they want to destroy you. I'm talking about that type of evil. Where I come from, there's something that I've always heard so many times growing up. So people in my tribe say not everyone wants to see you succeed. Some people they don't even want to see somebody's child succeed, and it gets deeper than just hate. I've heard people say that if a child is born with greatness, if that child has luck, ace, whatever you guys call him, um, some people might try to take it away from him, or maybe like switch it, try to switch it up. You know, I don't know how to fully explain it, but I've heard it so many times that it can really put fear in many people, and I know that it does because you know now succeed doesn't actually feel like. I mean, now success doesn't actually feel like success because you're afraid of achieving it or achieving whatever your goal is. You start to feel dangerous. You start to think, if I make it too far, what if somebody tries to kill me? What if somebody tries to bewitch me? What if I lose my mind? What if I go insane? What if something bad happens because I was just trying to become something? And I mean, that is a very scary way to live, you know, because imagine being scared of your own future. Imagine God putting something in you, but you're too afraid. You're too afraid to follow it because you're afraid that somebody might hurt you or do something to you. You know, and I know people might hear this and laugh. Some people might say that's just superstition, or some people might not understand it. But for those who grew up um, hearing things like this or seeing things like this, you know, it can actually put real fear in you. Yeah, like even if nobody touches you, the fear itself is already controlling you to chase whatever your goal is. Because in some place people don't kill with guns, they don't come at you directly. People believe they use witchcraft. In other places, it's guns, violence, jealousy, betrayal, poisoning, setups, lies, or people trying to ruin your name. Mostly in America, people will try to ruin your name a lot. In the hood where I live, people, you get set up, probably, or guns. So every culture has its own version of people trying to destroy somebody who's rising up. But I asked myself, why should I be scared? Why should I live a life where I am scared of chasing my dreams? Why should I live a life afraid of somebody coming at me and doing something to me? A fearful life. Because the truth is that none of us knows when we're going to die. I could die 1 minute from now. I could die tomorrow. Or I could die 100 years from now. Nobody knows. So if I am going to die one day, why should I spend the life that I have running away from my purpose? I remember a story about Alexander the Great. he had a choice between living a long, peaceful, chill life or living a short and glorious and greatness life. And he chose the victorious life. I'm not saying that everybody wants fame. I'm just saying that I'm not saying everybody has to be Alexander the Great, but what I'm saying is there comes a point in your life where you have to choose. Are you going to live long and scared? Or are you going to live with courageous? Are you going to live a courageous life and actually become who you're supposed to be? I mean, for me, I rather go for short and glorious because in life we all live, but only 1% of us actually lives the life that we they want to live. So to live, you like to live is to try to live the way that you want to live. You could live, but you could just be an NPC, just living, not chasing what is really inside of your heart, which is something that you should go for, chasing. Maybe just I don't know who said it. Maybe Elon Musk, whatever, but to try to give something back to the community because I think it was Steve Jobs because everything that we use was actually created by somebody. So given by somebody, Wi-Fi, computers, the internet, cars, everything that we use today was built by somebody else. Those people were chasing their dreams. So I believe those people lived because they accomplished something meaningful. Every day we take away from society, but we do not give back. So try to be useful and give back to society. And for because you have to think living scared is not really living. If I don't chase my dream because I'm afraid somebody might hate me, then they have already won. If I had my talent because I don't want people to notice me, then they've already took something from me without me even noticing. And that part really hits me because that's what real fear is, especially when you're afraid of what somebody might actually do to you if you do something. You're afraid of becoming something because of what somebody um, might do to you. Then they've already takes something away from you. And sometimes the fear itself is the witchcraft. Sometimes the fear is what destroys you before anybody else get a chance. Steve Jobs said something that always stayed with me. He said, "Remembering that you're going to die is one of the best ways to make big decisions because in the face of death, all fear, all the pride, all the procrastination, all the outside noise disappears in the face of death." He used to ask himself something like this: if today was the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? And if the answer is no for too many days in a row, he knew he needed something to change. And that is powerful because if you're afraid of something, someone, whatever it is, in the end, you have to remember that there's a clock You're going to die. You're not going to be here anymore. And in 100 years from now, 1,000 years, nobody will even remember your name unless you're Alexander the Great. You know. So what I'm just saying is that when you remember that life is short, you stop wasting time. You stop living for people's opinions. You stop delaying your own to do's. You stop saying too many yeses to people and putting your work aside to just do whatever people want you to do instead of actually focusing on what matters. You don't want to do you don't want to do when you're alive. You don't want to spend your life doing something that somebody else wants you to do. You want to spend time doing whatever you want to do because you're living for yourself. That's the only time that you'll ever be alive. So it gets to the point where you have to say no to people and say yes to you. You know, you stop playing small. You stop waiting for everybody to clap for you. You actually start asking what actually matters. What can I do right now that I won't be disappointed tomorrow if I die? You know, and what matters is just you know to me. What matters to me is becoming what God has called me to become. Not living in fear, not being controlled by people's jealousy, not hiding because somebody might not like my success, you know. But you have to protect yourself. So pray to God. Um, you don't tell everybody everything. If you wanna do something, just close your door, stay in your room, just work, you know, and watch people around you. Do not give everybody access to you. Be very picky with the friends that you choose. You know, your friends influences you heavily. You do like if you don't want to be like somebody in your circle, then cut them off. You don't want to hang out with somebody you don't want to be like. The same way that you don't want to take advice from somebody that you don't want to be like. So you have to be very precise because you have to understand you only live once, and if you live once, you don't have time to make people happy. You don't have time to pretend. You don't have time to pretend to make people happy because at the end of the day, you don't owe anybody anything. The only person that you owe everything to is yourself. Yourself, because you promise yourself things. You deserve more. Yourself deserve more. The younger you had dreams, and those dreams have to be accomplished. And that is something that I wanted to share with you all. And something else that I want to say is that fear is a product of our imagination. Fear is not real. Danger is real, but fear is not real. I heard that somewhere. So before you act because of fear, just slow your horses and think, because it's not real. Fear is just the imagination that's going through your head of what is going to happen if X, um, if X outcome comes out, you know, and you don't want that, so you're afraid of the outcome. But that's natural. It might happen, but it's not here yet. It might happen, but it's not here yet. So do not be afraid. No danger, but do not know fear. And if you know fear, you should know courage.